I think that clickers are the most valuable addition to my classroom I've seen in over 30 years of teaching.
Clickers have absolutely changed the way we teach. I think it's now something we look forward to. It helps us to bring more innovations into our teaching.
Lecture now becomes very dynamic rather than static. I'm not just a robot presenting a pre-prepared lecture.
It evens the playing field a little bit. Everybody has a chance to kind of think about things and answer them at their own pace.
I find that teachers that use clickers in the classroom are much more in tune to what their students are understanding and what they're not understanding.
They engage students in their own learning. The students move from passively listening to my wonderful lectures to actually having to figure out things and learn them themselves.
The relaxing atmosphere, and the students feel like now they have a voice in the classroom. I think that is very important for students.
But just what is a clicker? Clickers are basically a real-time poll of your class, which helps them learn. Let's give you a brief snapshot of how it's run. Several times in each lecture, the instructor pauses and asks the class a challenging question on the material. Students chat with their neighbors for a few minutes to help them figure out the answer, and then they click in with their choice. Instructors can get a record of every student's answer. A real-time histogram is created, showing the class response as a whole. The instructor discusses the question with the class and moves on from there.
What if they're spinning opposite ways? The clickers are good for many reasons, but one of the simplest is there's accountability. Everyone knows that their discussion answer is going to be recorded, and so they're all talking about the science. They're not talking about Saturday night. They're talking about astronomy.
The clickers seem to be a really nice way to keep me focused and attentive in class. They kind of get me out of that sort of slumped position in my seat and make me think about something.
Clickers allow students, well, in fact, they encourage students to commit to an answer. And they can't go into this sort of natural human mode of, oh, yeah, I knew that, because they voted and they know what they voted just a minute earlier.
The most immediate benefit from the clickers is you learn what your students are thinking.
Clickers help me understand the issues of the students who wouldn't speak as much otherwise.
I also get to interact with the students next to me, which, when I explain a concept to them, it helps me understand it more myself.
I think the clicker really helps because it facilitates communication between each of the students.
I have to learn by thinking or doing it myself, and that really only happens in classes with clicker questions.
It's certainly valuable that answers to clicker questions are anonymous.
Even when you raise a card or you raise your hands, you're still conscious of everybody around you.
The anonymity really helps because you're not being put on the spot. There's no fear of being judged if you get a question wrong.
One of the biggest concerns that I hear about using clicker questions in class is, doesn't that chew up too much time? How can I give up that much class time?
It always seems obvious that if you stop and have a discussion about a point, that's not ever going to be a loss in and of itself.
And if that chews up 15 or 20 minutes out of a 50-minute lecture, the students have walked away with the big idea from that lecture, which they almost certainly wouldn't have if I had just rapid fire stood at the blackboard.
If you don't believe that students need to reason and debate and articulate to learn, then don't do this. If you believe that you can do the learning for the student, then don't even try peer discussion, because if you really don't believe in it, it's not going to work for you.
If you made me go back to lecturing without clickers, it would be miserable. I would be so sad.
It does make you want to come back to class.
Clickers make class fun. They help students learn better than just the traditional professor at the blackboard transcribing information.
The classes seem to go a lot faster. I enjoy them a lot more when they have clickers.